Alright everyone, it's Jenny here, and today we're diving deep into a story that's got the sports world and fashion circles buzzing. We're talking about WNBA rookie sensation Cameron Brink. And trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for this one. So, picture this. It's a balmy night in LA, kind of evening where the city comes alive with possibility. And who do we spot stepping out on the town? None other than the LA Sparks rising star, Cameron Brink. Now, I've seen my fair share of athlete appearances, but let me tell you, Cameron just raised the bar. She's rocking this sparkly gray and blue dress that's catching every bit of light, making her shine brighter than the LA skyline. Here's the kicker. She's paired it with these knee-high leather boots that are just, well, they're everything. I'm talking sleek, stylish, and with just the right amount of edge. The kind of outfit that makes you stop and stare. And trust me, people were staring. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jenny, how do you know all this? Were you there? Well, no, I wasn't lucky enough to be part of Cameron's entourage that night. But thankfully, we live in the age of social media, and our girl Cameron was kind enough to share some snaps on her Instagram story. And let me tell you, the internet has been buzzing ever since. Let's break down this outfit a bit more, shall we? Because it's not just about the sparkly dress and the boots. Cameron's got this whole look going on that's giving us major Y2K vibes with a modern twist. She's sporting a blue and gray crop tank top that's showing just the right amount of midriff, paired with a mini skirt that's flirty and fun. Perfect combo for a night out with friends. And can we talk about accessories for a second? Cameron's not just throwing on any old jacket. No, she's got this blue number that complements the whole ensemble perfectly. And the bag? Matching, of course. Because when you're Cameron Brink, you don't just coordinate, you orchestrate. Now, I've been in this business long enough to know that style like this doesn't just happen by accident. This is a carefully curated look, and it tells us something about Cameron beyond her fashion sense. It shows us that she pays attention to details, that she's not afraid to stand out, and that she understands the power of presentation. These are qualities that serve her well on the basketball court, too. Speaking of the court, let's not forget why we know Cameron Brink in the first place. This 22-year-old phenom isn't just turning heads with her fashion choices. She's been setting the basketball world on fire since her college days. I mean, let's run down the accolades, shall we? Two-time Pac-12 Player of the Year. That's not just good, that's dominant. But wait, there's more. Three-time Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Now that's the kind of consistency that makes coaches drool and opponents lose sleep. Cameron isn't just a player, she's a force of nature on the court. And the WNBA? Well, they took notice. When the 2024 draft rolled around, the LA Sparks didn't hesitate. They snatched up Cameron with the second overall pick. Let me tell you, that decision is looking smarter by the day. Well, it was until, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now here's a little tidbit that might blow your mind. You know Steph Curry, right? Golden State Warriors superstar who changed the game of basketball as we know it? Well, it turns out basketball excellence runs in the family, because Steph's mom, Sonia Curry, is Cameron's godmother. I mean, can you imagine the holiday gatherings at that house? Pass the turkey and maybe a few three-point shooting tips while you're at it. But let's get real for a second, because Cameron's journey hasn't been all glitz and glamour lately. Just when things were looking up, with a coveted spot on Team USA's 3x3 basketball squad for the Paris Olympics, life threw her a curveball. Or should I say, a torn ACL. Yeah, it's the kind of news that makes every athlete and sports fan wince. It happened during a game against the Connecticut Sun back in June. 1 minute, Cameron's driving towards the basket, her eyes on the prize. The next, she's on the ground clutching her knee. It's the moment every athlete dreads. The moment when you know something's wrong, really wrong. For Cameron, it meant her Olympic dreams were put on hold. It meant months of rehabilitation ahead. It meant watching from the sidelines as her team, the Sparks, struggled without her. But here's where the story takes a turn, and where Cameron's true character shines through. A month after the injury, when many athletes might still be licking their wounds, Cameron's on Instagram, not wallowing, rallying. She posted this update that just shows how resilient she is. She wrote, "Chillin' on the road to recovery. Thank you all for the well wishes. I'm feeling extremely encouraged, supported, and ready to make small strides every day. Delayed, not denied." I mean, talk about grace under pressure. Here's a young athlete facing one of the biggest setbacks of her career, and she's out here talking about making small strides every day. That's not just positive thinking. That's the mindset of a champion. It's the kind of attitude that separates the good from the great, players from the legends. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Losing Cameron has been tough for the Spark. Before her injury, she was putting up some impressive numbers. We're talking 7.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.1 steals, and 2.3 blocks per game. For a rookie, those aren't just good numbers. I'm here to make an impact numbers. They're future of the franchise numbers. And the Sparks? Well, they've been feeling the absence. They've had a rough stretch, losing 19 of their last 21 games. That includes an 8-game losing streak that had fans biting their nails, followed by another 7-game skid. Their recent loss to the Dallas Wings just extended that streak. And you can bet the team is feeling the pressure. But here's the thing about sports, and about life really. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up. And if Cameron's Instagram post is anything to go by, she's not just getting back up, she's coming back stronger. So, while we might not be seeing Cameron Brink lighting up the court for a while, don't think for a second that she's faded into the background. Whether she's turning heads with her fashion choices on a night out, or inspiring fans with her recovery journey, Cameron Brink is proving that she's a star both on and off the court. And let's be real, that outfit? The sparkly dress, the knee-high boots, that's not just a look, that's a statement. Cameron saying, yeah, I'm going through a tough time, but I'm still here, I'm still me, I'm still fabulous. And honestly, we're here for it. You know, it's easy to forget sometimes that these athletes we watch and admire are real people. They have nights out with friends, they face setbacks, they struggle, but it's how they handle those moments that really shows us who they are. And Cameron? She's showing us that she's got style, she's got grace, and most importantly, she's got grit. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the mental toughness it takes to go through what Cameron's experiencing. Imagine you're at the top of your game, you've just been selected for the Olympic team, and then in an instant it all changes. For many people, that would be enough to send them into a spiral of despair. But not Cameron. Instead, she's out there, living her life, looking fabulous, and inspiring others. She's showing us that an injury might sideline you physically, but it doesn't have to sideline your spirit. And that, my friends, is a lesson we can all take to heart, whether we're professional athletes or just everyday people trying to navigate life's challenges. So what's next for Cameron Brink? Well, if I were a betting woman, I'd say big things. This setback, it's just that, a setback. With her talent, her attitude, and let's be honest, her impeccable fashion sense, Cameron Brink is a name we're going to be hearing for a long time to come. And hey, who knows? Maybe by the time she's back on the court, breaking ankles and blocking shots, she'll have her own fashion line. Cameron Brink basketball shoes, anyone? I'd buy a pair. Or maybe a line of workout gear that transitions seamlessly from the gym to a night out. Because if anyone knows how to balance athleticism and style, Cameron. But in all seriousness, stories like Cameron's remind us why we love sports. It's not just about the game, it's about the people who play it. It's about watching someone face adversity head-on, with grace and determination. It's about seeing someone excel not just in their sport, but in life. And let's not forget the impact Cameron is having on young fans. In a world where social media can often be a source of pressure and unrealistic standards, Cameron is using her platform to show authenticity and resilience. She's not hiding her struggles, she's sharing them. And in doing so, she's showing a whole generation of young athletes that it's okay to face setbacks. It's okay to have bad days. What matters is how you bounce back. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about the broader implications of Cameron's journey. In the world of professional sports, we often see athletes pigeonholed into one-dimensional roles. They're either the star player or they're nothing. But Cameron is proving that you can be multifaceted. You can be a top-tier athlete and a fashion icon. You can be going through a tough recovery and still have a night out with friends. You can be serious about your sport and still have fun with your image. This kind of representation matters. It shows young athletes, especially young women, that they don't have to choose between being taken seriously as an athlete and expressing themselves through fashion or other interests. They can be both. They can be all of it. And let's talk about resilience for a moment. In today's world, where instant gratification is the norm and setbacks can feel like the end of the world, Cameron's attitude is a breath of fresh air. She's not letting this injury define her. She's not letting it stop her from living her life or pursuing her passions. Instead, she's adapting, she's growing, and she's showing us all what true strength looks like. You know, in my years covering sports, I've seen a lot of athletes face injuries. Some come back stronger than ever. Some never quite regain their former glory. But I've got a feeling about Cameron Brink. There's something special about her, something that goes beyond her stats or her fashion sense. It's an inner fire, a determination that shines through in everything she does. So here's to Cameron Brink, basketball star, fashion icon, and all-around inspiration. We can't wait to see what you do next, on and off the court. And Cameron, if you're listening, keep rocking those outfits. You're giving us all a masterclass in how to bounce back in style. Now, I don't know about you, but all this talk about Cameron's night out has me thinking it might be time for a little retail therapy. I mean, if knee-high boots are good enough for a WNBA star, they're good enough for me, right? But more than that, it's got me thinking about resilience, about facing challenges head-on, and about the power of a positive attitude. Because let's be real, we all face setbacks in life. We all have moments where it feels like everything's falling apart. But it's in those moments that we have a choice. We can let the setback define us, or we can define how we respond to the setback. In Cameron Brink, she's choosing to respond with grace, with style, and with an unbreakable spirit. You know, in a world where it's so easy to get caught up in the negatives, in the setbacks and the disappointments, it's refreshing to see someone like Cameron Brink. Someone who can take a hit, literally and figuratively, and come back swinging. Or in this case, come back strutting in some seriously enviable boots. It's a reminder that our challenges don't define us. Our responses to those challenges do. Cameron could have easily retreated from the public eye after her injury. She could have hidden away, focused solely on her recovery. And no one would have blamed her if she did. But instead, she's out there, living her life, sharing her journey, and inspiring others in the process. And let's not underestimate the impact this can have. Somewhere out there, there's a young basketball player who's just faced a setback of their own. Maybe they didn't make the team, or maybe they're dealing with an injury of their own. And they're seeing Cameron Brink, not just recovering, but thriving. They're seeing that setbacks are temporary, challenges can be overcome, and that you can face adversity with style and grace. That's powerful. That's the kind of representation that can change lives. Because it's one thing to hear someone say, "Don't give up." It's another thing entirely to see someone living that message, to see them embodying resilience and determination. So what's the takeaway here? Maybe it's that life, like basketball, is unpredictable. You can be on top 1 minute and facing a major obstacle the next. But it's not about avoiding the obstacles. It's about how you handle them when they come your way. And if you can handle them with half the grace and style that Cameron Brink is showing, well, you're doing all right. Or maybe the takeaway is about the power of authenticity. In an age where social media often shows us carefully curated versions of people's lives, Cameron is giving us the real deal. He's sharing the highs and the lows, the glam nights out and the tough days of recovery. And in doing so, she's connecting with people on a real human level. Perhaps it's about the importance of balance. Cameron is showing us that you don't have to be just one thing. You can be a serious athlete and a fashion enthusiast. You can be going through a tough time and still find moments of joy. You can be focused on your recovery and still take a night off to have fun with friends. It's all about finding that balance, about being a whole, multifaceted person. Or maybe, just maybe, it's about the power of a great outfit. Because let's be honest, Sometimes putting on something that makes you feel fabulous can be the first step in turning a bad day around. Sometimes the simple act of getting dressed up and going out can be an act of defiance against whatever's trying to bring you down. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Success isn't about never falling down. It's about how fabulously you get back up. And if Cameron Brink is any indication, future of the WNBA is looking pretty darn fabulous. But more than that, I want you to think about how you can apply Cameron's attitude to your own life. What's your equivalent of rocking a sparkly dress and knee-high boots while recovering from a setback? How can you face your challenges with grace, style, and an unbreakable spirit? Because at the end of the day, that's what sports are all about. Yes, it's about the games and the scores and the championships, but it's also about the human stories, about the triumphs and the setbacks, about the moments that inspire us to be better, to do better, keep pushing forward no matter what. And Cameron Brink? She's giving us one hell of a story. She's showing us what it means to be a star, not just on the court but in life. She's reminding us that setbacks are temporary, but style is forever. So here's to Cameron Brink and to all of us facing our own challenges. May we face them with grace, determination, and maybe with a killer pair of boots. Because life's too short to let setbacks keep us down, and it's definitely too short for boring out. This is Jenny, signing off from the Sports Day Tribune. Remember, whether you're on the court or on the town, always bring your A game and maybe a pair of killer boots. Until next time, keep it stylish, keep it sporty, and keep your head up. The game's not over until the final buzzer, and something tells me Cameron Brink's best plays are still to come. Peace out, sports fans.